All right, so the first go round, you all talked about sexual exploration. So what came next?
Well, next was episode 2. We talked about gender roles, and that was one of the funniest episodes to me. I definitely appreciate the different views, and I wanted to do gender roles because I watched this episode of Queen Sugar where the little boy Blue, he had a doll, and he was in a restaurant with Ralph Angel and the mother.
We like anything else?
Oh, we good.
Dessert menu?
Me and Kenya want dessert.
That's your doll?
Uh-huh.
You know, you should get Transformers. Those are really cool.
We gonna get 2 ice cream sundaes. All the toppings y'all got. One for my son and one for his doll. You got me?
Not a problem.
All right.
Like, just showing that, like, respect. Like, he was open and he understood his child no matter what. Like, it didn't matter to him. And I wanted to talk about gender roles because I feel like it shapes our reality. Like, from a kid, like, women are supposed to be in the kitchen, men are supposed to be the providers. And there's truth there. Every role is needed to make a family, but I feel like it's a conversation that needs to be had when it goes to the extreme. So, how do we feel about that? Is there anything wrong with boys playing with Barbie dolls and girls playing with monster trucks?
Absolutely not. There's nothing wrong with that. I feel like we need to, as a society, we push people into boxes. And I feel like the biggest category is gender. And I think that in order for us to really have better interactions as we grow older, even as a child, like, we should be able to play with dolls and Transformers and bugs or, dress up, because these are all things that we like to do. And as children, you don't really have the concept of, oh, I'm a boy, so I got to stick to these games, or I'm a girl, I got to stick to these games. That's what parents put on you. That's what society puts on you. Like, if you like to play with something, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to play with the toys.
Okay,
Yeah.
but from another perspective, some men just feel like this. I don't want my son to be gay, so I ain't letting him play with no dolls. What do we say?
I think
He
that
could
is
be
that is first, yes.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with being gay, but also I think that's totally not true. Like, I grew up, I was the biggest tomboy ever. Like, I have 7 brothers, so like I love basketball. I broke my arm from jumping off roofs. Like, I was such. Look at me now, like the complete opposite. So like growing up, I think my mom kind of thought like I was gonna be like a lesbian or completely opposite. So I think society in general just thinks like, oh, if a boy plays with a doll, he's gonna be gay, but that's not true. Like, when you say that, you limit boys to just boys things or girls to just girls things. Children lose creativity. They can't enjoy themselves. They can't everything that, like, I see it now, like I work at a high school, and everything the boys say that's and anything other than masculinity, that's gay. Pause. Like that. No bullshit. Like everything is that.
Black women, you guys are awesome. That's why you guys understand.
Yes, we are.
But black men, how do y'all go about it?
I don't know. I would say like it all depends on how you're raised, and it all depends on what rules you want your household to follow. So some people want to go by the Bible. That's how I was raised. So I feel like I wouldn't limit a child's playthings. Like what they want to play with, I feel like, all right, do what you want to do. But I feel like I also don't want to just straight up like let my son be gay. You know what I mean? Like I have friends that are gay. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But it just feels like the way I was raised, that's not the way to go for me. But I'm not the type of person to say like, oh, I hate you for doing this or for being yourself. Like, be yourself, be who you want to be. But myself, the way I was raised is just different. You know what I mean? And I think everybody has the right to choose, the way they want to raise their kids. But don't force anything on them. Like, you know what I mean? Be ready for your kid to do who he wants. But I feel like it's your right to guide them a certain way.
So how do you keep that balance? Like, how do you keep the balance? You're not a parent yet, but
Yeah.
how would you suggest?
Like the balance, I don't know, just get to know your kids. Like my parents were mad open with me. You know what I mean? Like they talked to me about everything. Obviously they didn't want me to be gay, but at the same time it was like they're not gonna like kill me or threaten me because if that is what happened. You know what I'm saying? So like it's levels. Like some people are very extreme. Some Christian people be sinning and then they got a nerve to turn around and tell other people not to sin. What they count as a sin. You're not supposed to hate people, you're supposed to hate the sin. Right? So if you feel like being gay is a sin, then you're still supposed to love the person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I just think some people are too extreme on either side. Some people are like, be completely free, do whatever you want. And I'm like, you don't want to just tell your kids to do whatever they want.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just tell them within boundaries. Even if your kid is gay, you want to be there for them so they know how to be safe in that realm of activity. You know what I mean? Because you can't just do whatever you want. And then at the same time, you can't shove your ideas down somebody else's throat and force them to be a certain way.
So do you let your son wear pink?
If you want to wear pink, I think he should
Pink
be
is
free.
a
I think
beautiful
my
color.
thing is I don't think
real men wear pink.
I think people get too caught up in that. Yes, I think people get too caught up in if you do this, you're gonna be gay. If you're attracted to the same sex, that makes then you're gonna be gay. It's not that you wear pink so you're gay. You know what I mean?
I think for me, my grandparents raised me, and I feel like I've always been gay since a kid. And I know that for my grandparents, I'm pretty sure that they've always known that since a young age. And I think for them, more so, my grandmother she was afraid of how the world would kind of treat me or how they would look at me and stuff like that. I remember I was like about 7 years old and I had this doll, like a baby doll. And I carried the baby doll everywhere. My grandfather didn't have a problem with it. But I remember one day my grandfather, he was a taxi cab driver, and she threw the doll out the window.
Your grandmother.
My grandmother threw the doll out the window, and my grandfather pulled the cab over, got out, walked all the way back and got it, and was like, if you want to play with the doll, let him play with the doll. And my grandmother was just going off. And now, obviously looking back at it, it's like, she always loved me and stuff like that. Like when I was in the house, it was never a problem, but when it was out and about, it was kind of just like, why are we letting him
What
play with
people
this?
think.
Right. And then, but then also I had an uncle who was very who is very homophobic. And once again, at a young age, he obviously saw that in me. So I was the kid that I didn't want to play basketball and I didn't want to wrestle and stuff like that. So I would want to stay in the house. And then my uncle would be like, when I was at his house, he'll be like, oh, go outside and play with the boys. Mm-hmm. And then it would just be like, I'll go outside because I'm told to go outside, but then I'm just sitting on the back steps. Mm-hmm. And then he'll tell my brother and my cousins to then rough me up and drag me off and get me dirty and stuff like that. And I hated going over there. Mm-hmm. It was just I hated it. So I know for my grandmother, it was more so just her kind of to protect me out in public. But for my uncle, it was kind of just I see where this is going. It's not about to go down that way. So
we're trying to stomp it out.
Right.
That's mean.
Yeah.
Very
that's
much.
wrong.
Nobody
And
tried
that's
to go through that.
bullshit. I feel like black parents in general, they have a problem with doing stuff like that. Oh, I'm gonna beat it out of you, or I gotta put you in certain things in clubs, I gotta restrict you from certain toys.
Yeah.
And it's all about perception. Because I don't feel like in the family and the primary family, I don't think that we feel that way. I think it's because of the perception of your child being gay is what kind of drives you to make sure that they're not gay by putting them into those different clubs and activities.
Right.
Or having them play with certain people around the neighborhood. It's all about perception, and that's the biggest problem, especially in regards to gender roles. They don't want their girl out there playing basketball with the boys and being dirty. You gotta dress on with your skirt like that, like a basketball. It was one her mom really hated the fact that she didn't like wearing dresses. Yeah. Why? Just because you're a girl, you have to wear a dress.
Yeah,
you can still be
because they want y'all in the kitchen.
You can
that's
still
how.
be
That's how. Where does that come from?
I was saying, Dave, I just want to piggyback off of what you guys both said. I agree because the love and basketball reference and the whole boys playing with dolls, that's nothing. He could want to be a fashion designer, and that's how he wanted to play with dolls. Her mom didn't want her to play basketball and wear dresses, but look where she ended. She ended up going pro. Yes. So it's it's not the toys, it's the parents when they put it into your mind that, oh, you're a boy, you can't wear pink. You could wear blue and be gay, because there's different types of gays. There's the flamboyant and there's the trade. He could walk around and look straight, and the whole time he is it doesn't matter what he's wearing is in him. Like you said, if you are homosexual, it's because you are attracted to the same sex, not because, oh, I'm a lesbian because I play with trucks.
what you're talking about is playing with one toy versus another. Like when I grew up, me and my mom, we were broke. And the only cousin close to, like really close to my age was a girl cousin, and she had everything. So I grew up playing with dolls, you know? And so I grew with everyone saying that, like, you're not gonna turn gay by this. Like, I was playing with straight up, like, Barbie, like, on her horse and galloping around. Like, it wasn't, like, no low-key. Like, Barbie wasn't, like, a karate Barbie. It was, like, regular Barbie. And so this is all I had. And so you're not gonna turn gay. And so it's a loaded question in that sense that I lived it, where I played with girl toys and it had no effect on me. But it's the same, and this is not from me, but I think it was maybe a Kevin Hart skit, but he's saying that he doesn't want his son to be gay because he doesn't know, like, he don't know how to talk to them. And I can kind of relate, he don't know how to go about, I can relate to that because if my son comes to me and say, hey dad, I'm gay, I'm like, all right, I'm not like hate my son for it, but like, what do? Do we like go out together? I'm like, yo, you think that boy's cute? Like, I don't know how to have that conversation.
Well, look, my brother, look, that's what you say. Like, let's just go on. Like, you do what you do, I do what you do. But Ty, you said something that like you wouldn't let your son be gay. What is?
Oh damn! Now everybody looking at me. All right, but I didn't mean it that way. Mm-hmm. So, but what I meant was like, I would try and guide him a different way, I guess you would say, like just because of the way I was raised, right?
Right.
But at the end of the day, like I said before, I'm not gonna hate my child if that's what he wants to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's not my choice. I tell people all the time, like a lot of my friends come to me for advice and stuff. So I always tell them like, it's your life, you have to live it.
Right.
Nobody else is gonna live it for you, so you have to make your own decisions. And that's the same way I'm gonna raise my kids. Is like, you have to make your own decisions. If that's the way you want to go, then that's the way you want to go.
But you would prefer, like, as a man raising your son, like that you wouldn't, you know, like you would.
I would say yes, but the only thing is, after like talking a little bit about it, I think it is because of what other people think, or because of how I was raised. Like, because like if I have friends that are gay and that don't matter to me, then why should it matter if my son is?
I just feel like the conversation is kind of focused on a man being gay. Like, from the male perspective, I just want to know, like, for each of y'all, what about having a daughter that's gay? You know, what about that?
I'm here
you know, because I feel like it's
but they like to see girls kiss.
We really don't want, you know, our son to be gay, right? But if he is, okay, we'll deal. But I mean, there's a flip side to that as well. You know, what if we have a tomboy girl and you know she starts liking girls and stuff like? So what about if that happens? Like,
that's a
is that
Would
something
you
that's
let your daughter be gay?
that's something I would have to think about more, because like as a man, we always think of what reflects us. You know what I'm saying? So we think of, if we have a kid, we have a son. That's not the way it always comes out, is it? But like at the same time, we think through a mindset of, I can raise another me. You know,
I can like that. Right, because I feel like even women think about their son being gay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think nobody thinks about their daughter being a lesbian.
And I think that's because it's more accepted in society.
You know?
Like, I don't think it's taboo or it's nasty. Like,
it's sensationalized.
Yeah, like
we love it.
Exactly. So I think that's what it is.
We love it only if it fits like with the you know, only if a woman is womanly, right? Because we don't like it when there's a stud, you know, like that. What were they called, like bull daggers back in the day? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, like I don't want no bull dagger, little girl, you know. I feel like that's the only time we allow it or we accept it.
I would treat it the same way personally, simply because like I wouldn't think along the mindset as whether I'm like enticed by the whole lesbian thing, because that's my daughter. Like, I'm not gonna think of my daughter like that. And so I would go about it the same way, whereas I would still, you know, love my daughter, but like I guess that would be easier to talk to my daughter about getting girls, but I don't know how to
because you understand.
Right? I'm like, word, that is a fat butt. I agree.
Shake it.
But it's still the same sense that like, it's not just I wouldn't know how to talk to my children, but like it would be a little easier, you know, if they weren't, because they wouldn't have to have that fight. There's so many other things for them to fight. And then like for us having this conversation, I feel like we're taking it not to the extreme, but to the most dynamic, you know? Like, your son is guaranteed gay, your daughter is guaranteed gay. But what about, you know, letting your kids dress real weird? You know, how open are we gonna be? And that's where I gotta be real. Like, I don't know how open I could be. I can say it right now because I'm an open person with, my friends and everyone that I know. Like if I had a friend, like a dude friend that's like, yo, I'm gonna wear a dress. It'd be a little odd. I'm like, alright, cool, whatever. Like, what am I gonna do? I'm not gonna stop you. But like my son, I don't know.
Okay, I have a question for both of you. Earlier you said that you would prefer that your son is not gay and you would guide him and you wouldn't hate him for it.
Mm-hmm.
Hate to me is like a 360 word. You could not hate them physically, but would you be hating your son emotionally if it's like, yeah, you're gay, but let me guide you from who you are. I don't hate you for who you are, but let me try to change you.
Well,
and for you, I want y'all both to answer at the same time because I'm gonna forget my question.
Okay.
But in you said that you don't know if it would be easier to raise your daughter gay. I want to know easy as a 360 word, easy for who? Because it could be easier for your child to be straight, but then how do they treat other people when they grow up and say like, oh, my daddy raised me that this is the right way to be, so now that you're gay, I want to reflect how I was raised the same way you want to reflect how you were raised on your child. Would it be easier for you and your child, and then would that easiness go to the next person's family?
That was loaded, sis.
Yeah.
I forget it. I'm gonna right now.
I'll go first. With the easier, it's that's really deep. I never thought of it like that. I never thought of it as like it'd be easier for me to raise my child a certain way, and then the way I'm raising my child would then kind of encroach on somebody else's lifestyle. I look at it more as I truly believe this, and I always have like this conversation like with my mother or like with any parent. You can't stop your child. Your child is gonna be an adult person. You can't stop them from being whoever they are.
But they don't know that. I feel like parents act like
a lot of
they live vicariously through their children.
And I'm hoping that's like an old school mentality, But because like I can't imagine like someone like around our age not realizing that, because like we all, I don't know about you guys, but I know I'm not always what my mother wanted me to be. Like in a lot of things, sure, but me and her are night and day, and so you can't force a human being to be what they're not. Like that's weird to me. And so with me, it's just as a thought process. Like if my child were not gay, it would be easier. If they are gay, then that's a lot. That's more that I have to deal with. But if they
easier
do,
for you,
easy.
it would be easier for you.
It doesn't feel
as a parent to feel like, oh, if I had a gay, if my son is straight, it's easier for me to raise him because I don't have to worry about him getting bullied or him being, that's what you're saying.
And that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is because we're looking at it from like as though we could control what we have. We can't control. Our kid can come out gay, straight, whatever they want to be, whatever level of fluidity they want to be. We can't control it. So what I'm saying as easier is that's the reality of it. No matter how far society is advancing right now, we're accepting more and more people every day.
I think I'm trying to understand what do you like. Give me an example of what easy is.
I'll give you an exact example of what easy is. Right now, the normative behavior in society is still heterosexuality, right? It for the most part, right?
Yeah,
it's easier, right? My family, we're all Christian, right? That's easier. That's not a conversation that you need to have if you're heterosexual at that point, right? So that's one less thing that you have to do. That's the reality of it. Easier isn't the sense that like, all right, this is my preferable thing. I don't necessarily would say I have a preference because I know I can't control it.
But I think that everybody's walk of life is different, and there's nothing easy about it.
It's not.
You know that now, but it's an old thought though. Like our parents and grandparents, they don't all feel that way. So we know that now.
But realistically, do you think that there are struggles that you have to go through as a homosexual man?
Yeah.
Every background has its own struggle. Just like the fact of the matter is me. I'm a black gay man living in America. So it's difficult for me because it's like even if I was straight, I got the black thing I gotta go with.
Two of us, right? We're both in America. Yes. We're both similar education levels, similar creative individuals, right? Do you have one more extra struggle that you have to deal with that I don't? Let's say everything else is the same.
Yes.
That's all I mean.
Right, but then there can be you can be in a certain atmosphere to where either your religion or how your politics, you have a certain type of different struggle that I may not have. You know what I'm saying?
I 100% agree. And that's what I'm saying. With all the struggles that we all have, The reality of it is,
it's not none of it is.
Yeah, well, I know a lot of people, being a black female, is probably going to be like, this is crazy for me to say, but I actually agree with you. Like, I would rather, if I had the choice, which I know I'll never have it, but I think it'll be easier for me to, one, accept, and two, raise a gay daughter, no matter if she's a lipstick lesbian or like a butch, like dyke, if you call it, like, than a gay son. So yeah, I don't know. I have a gay brother, and growing up, like, we all knew, like, I'm one of 10 kids. My mom, she says she doesn't know. And he came out to her, he went out to the military, and he was deployed for about a year in Kuwait, and he came and he called and was like, oh yeah, I'm coming home, me and my boyfriend. And my mom's like, you and your what? And she, she didn't like shun him or anything, but for about a month, it was, she felt like she felt as a mother, and not in the sense of raising him gay, but not knowing that he was, and because he was at this point he was like 22, so she felt like she didn't know her son, and so yeah, I think I would have an easier time raising a gay daughter than a gay son.
I feel like we're missing something in this because this episode is about, gender roles and things like that. And a lot of our conversation is obviously about like heterosexual and homosexual and things like that. But what about, maybe a bit extreme, but what about transgender? What if your son comes to you and said that they feel like they were born in the wrong body and wants to transition into a female to kind of like correct what they thought needs to be corrected, and vice versa? Or, if your daughter comes to you and said like, I feel like I'm born in the wrong body and I feel like I was meant to be a boy, and they go through that whole process, like, is that something that you would be supportive of? Because that's something that that's like, doctor visits, surgery, that mental things like that. It's like, is that something that you all can kind of be a part of, because that is also a gender role.
Yeah, I would support my kid for sure.
But I don't know.
Realistically,
I don't know. If I
would
had like a son or a daughter and they told me they were born in the wrong body, that's something that I feel like until it happens to you, you really won't know how to deal with it. I can sit here and say, yeah, all inclusive. If my son comes home and says he wants to be a girl, let's go for it, boom. But if that ever were to happen, I would be like, well, damn, this is something.
Well, I think I'm very educated on this topic. Like, I have someone in my life, three or four people who are transgender, and also when I was younger in high school, someone, and so and I'm also grounded in science, and so I know it is a mental disorder. I know it's just not, mommy, I'm a boy, but I want to dress they literally feel that they are in the wrong body, and that's the point. That's the part that a lot of people think, like, they don't understand that. So I think because my level of education, my experience with it, like, I understand that it's just not something that they feel like this is in their brain. They literally feel like the other genders. So I think that I would have an easier time accepting that than accepting a gay son or daughter, only because I understand that it's not, it's I don't know. I'm gonna stop saying it.
Yeah, because now I want to know what thought you wanted to tie the other point.
My thing was, I think we have to, when we have these conversations, you gotta realize that everybody's at a different place in their life, right? So the same way you just said that, what did you say? You said you won't know till it happens. I think we have to respect that everybody, they may be in a different place in their life, so they may not know how they would feel about having a gay son or a gay daughter, because that's not what they've been trained to think of. You know what I mean? They've been trained to think, if I do this, this is what happens next. And sometimes, as we know, that's not the way the world works. You know what I'm saying? So I think we also got to remember to meet people where they are. And as much as we want people to be accepting of everybody, we can't just force it. Like, Rome wasn't built in a day. You know what I'm saying? It takes time for people to understand where you're coming from and how your brain works and how your heart works. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just think that it's important, just like for our generation, like as we gear up to become parents and stuff like that, I just think it's important that we kind of just be open to any possibility, because nowadays everything is starting to be more accepted. Things are happening, so it's just like we should kind of like have to expect the unexpected, because nowadays people are gay, they're straight, they're transgender, they're non-binary. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I think education and knowledge is
Yes,
most important
these
because it's just like,
conversations are so important.
so it's
I
like
think
whatever avenue happens with your
Absolutely.
child, you should kind of have some sense of like, okay,
Yeah, how do we deal with this? How moving forward?
I have a quick thought. I want to agree with you and to piggyback off of what you said, that we have to meet people where they are, and that even though it's not happening to us, we just have to know who we are. For me, I know that I'm a type of person that I accept the person for who they are. So I can say, even though I don't have kids and I might not ever have kids, I know that I'm an accepted person, even though, and I would accept my child before I accept the stranger. So if my child came home and said, I'm transgender, I have transgender friends, I talk to them, I can see where it is. So if my child came home and said I was transgender, because it is, I won't say a mental disorder, I will say a mental condition, I will let them sit down and talk to someone, because they're going to have to do that anyway. They're not going to be able to get the sex change without that stamp from a psychiatrist or something. So I would just accept them and then like make sure they go through the proper channels, because the world is becoming so, you know, open and vast. And then it's like, this whole conversation is, are the kids all right? And we are the kids because of our parents. So if we don't change it now, then our kids are going to grow up and say, well, my daddy raised me in the church and you're not supposed to be gay. And then that ruins their kids. So it's like, we have to put ourselves in the position of, when I was younger, what kind of help did I want? What kind of help did I need? And now let me be that type of help for my child. So,
And that's all we have for episode 2. We got into some heated debates, girls versus guys kind of thing, but it was pretty cool. I feel like it was just a needed conversation.